Like anyone who follows Brexit, I was very, very pretty much following the fishy trail of the fishing industry. Unfortunately, like many people who voted for Brexit, voted for it on false promises and false premises of things that even the Brexiteers knew could not be true and could never even be true. And I have said and stressed before that anyone who was a former Brexiteer should absolutely be welcomed over to our side. And I've always said you've got to separate them into Brexiteers and Brexit supporters. And it's Brexit supporters that we have to welcome into our fold if we are to ever reverse Brexit, essentially. Like I say, we can't wait for them to die, really, essentially. We need to reverse that opinion and get us back into the EU as quickly as possible, because it is the only way we are going to rectify this downward trajectory that we have set upon the UK's economy. And it is going to hit us like a stone very, very quickly. The faster we try and recover from COVID, the quicker we are going to realise that we aren't recovering as fast as we should be, or we aren't where we should be, and we've lost GDP. That is going to affect this country massively. And as we've said before, the best worst case scenario for Brexit is less exports, smaller economy, less investment, less jobs. That is the best worst case scenario. And we've talked about the worst case scenario plenty of times before on this channel. So it is delightful today that we see a group of people who are the conned now threatening revenge against the conners, the Brexiteers. So before we jump into that, please do remember to hit that like and share button. And of course, down below there is a link to my Patreon page, as well as a one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee, where you can, well, buy me a coffee. And thank you to all those people who do support me that way. So this comes from The Guardian. And the title is UK shellfish farmers threaten legal action over ban on exports to the EU. The Environmental Secretary, George Eustace, is facing a threat of legal action from shellfish farmers over claims that the government has misled the industry over its post-Brexit agreements with the EU. A solicitor representing over 20 shellfish firms has told The Guardian the government had shown negligence and malistration, I think that's how you say it, over that the group action is now being considered for compensation. Separately, another exporter of mussels has sent a legal letter to the Secretary of State saying that the firm would sue for damages if the shellfish market with the EU were not opened up by September. The move comes as the UK finally hands a roadmap to Brussels on Northern Ireland following the launch of legal action by the EU over the alleged breach of the withdrawal treaty. Live mussels, cockles, oysters and other shellfish caught mostly off the UK's waters are no longer allowed to enter the EU, following Britain leaving the customs union and single market on New Year's Eve. Eustace and officials and other ministers have claimed the bloc originally planned to let this trade resume after Brexit, and that it altered its position earlier this year. Brussels has constantly denied the government's claim and said that the rules for third countries, such as the UK, are clear and long-standing. And they are right. Those rules were very clear and they were long-standing. We told the fishermen exactly what would happen. I've done numerous videos over the past couple of years saying exactly what would happen to these fishermen if they left the single market and customs union, what it would mean. But, you know, apparently, as lots of people like to claim, this is, quote, what they voted for. So, Andrew Oliver, a partner at Andrew Jackson LLP, said that he was representing over 20 shellfish firms considering possible legal action against the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. We are taking and talking with legal counsel's opinion as to the government's actions in regard to the EU trade agreement and the assurances given by the government to make live shellfish exports. We feel that there has been negligence and maladministration regarding the government's negotiations on the agreement, and its treatment of our clients. One leading mussel farmer has already sent a legal letter to Eustace, warning that unless they can begin trading again by September, they will launch a claim for substantial damages. Solicitors for the offshore shellfish, a 30-year-old business employing over 15 people in Brinksome, Devon, wrote to the Secretary of State on the 25th of March, stating that the ministers and officials from the department had repeatedly given false hope to shellfish farmers, suggesting that their businesses would be able to continue trading with the EU. The assurances that were given by the department, Defra, give rise to a legitimate expectation that export of the LBMs, the live bivalve mollusks, from Class B waters from the UK to the EU would continue after the 1st of January 2021. In the event that our clients are unable, shall we say, to restart trade in September this year, it will become necessary for them to dismantle and remove the offshore farm. This scenario, which we would hope to avoid, may result in substantial damages claim, the letter said. The solicitor for the offshore shellfish said that they had received advice from counsel that contradicted Defra's assurance that exports from the UK to the EU would continue. Their letter said, "Our clients and the Shellfish Association of Great Britain have been in discussions with Victoria Pence, MP, Parliamentary Undersecretary for Farming, Fisheries and Food, and were informed on a telephone conversation on the 9th of March that the EU's position is simply wrong. However, no legal basis or advice from Defra has been provided to support this position. Indeed, our claims and our clients have been forced to seek independent counsel's opinion on this matter, and the counsel advises that the EU's position is tenable. Meanwhile, talks were stepped up on the legal dispute between the EU and the UK over London's failure to implement the special Brexit agreements for Northern Ireland. On Tuesday, the UK finally delivered the roadmap it had promised last December to Brussels in relation to the implementation of the Northern Ireland Protocol. The EU recently launched infringement proceedings against the UK over its decision to extend the grace period for checks on supermarket goods, and that was due to end on the 1st of April. It had also demanded that the UK fulfil its promises of a detailed operations plan setting out the milestones for implementation, along with sharing live border clearance data with Brussels. The European Commission said that it would study the document in the coming days and before commenting. Businesses in Northern Ireland, which have also feared a further clash if the April 1st date had passed, looks with progress and welcome the move. They said, "Looking forward and seeing the detail of this, how this will work practically for businesses is still, but prima facie is still this good news. And there is still a lot to do and little time, and our priority remains to keep choice and affordability for NI households," tweeted Ardal Connery, head of the Northern Ireland Retail Consortium. A Defra spokesperson said the department could not comment on any potential legal action. The legislation was clear that the export of live mollusks from Class B waters for purification could continue after the transition period. Our correspondence with the Commission confirmed this, he said. But the Commission have now amended their import rules without scientific or technical jurisdiction. Effectively, they have changed the law to justify their position in blocking of the trade, causing impacts for businesses on both sides. Again, they're trying to blame the EU when it's not the EU's fault. These rules that were in place and that were negotiated were helped to be created by us when we were in the EU. So, all I can say is, I do hope this goes ahead, because this is going to be, I think, one of the very key, big first cases that shows just how much the government and indeed the Brexiteers and even the Leave side were actually lying about this. Because if these guys that are suing the government could take this even further, because they could make references not only to Boris Johnson's current government, but Theresa May's government, and also make references to what the Leave side campaigning for during the referendum, which would show just how much of the lies they were actually peddling were at the time. So this could very, very quickly become one of the first big threads to be completely unraveled about Brexit. But again, that's not surprising. This was always going to be the case, as we've said from the very beginning. Once we are become what is technically known in this case as a third country, we then have to obey those rules. So this was always the case. This was always what was going to happen. And it's not just the fishing industry that is finding out the hard way what being a third country actually means. So, as always, thank you for watching. Please remember to hit that like and share button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, as well as a one-off donation link. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.